Last night I had on my show a guy who had just left. He had flown in yesterday afternoon from Washington, D.C., and he had flown in from Washington where he had just briefed the Capitol and many people in Congress about the possibility that maybe somebody will attack our embassies in Libya or Egypt. Patrick Poole is his name. He got on the set and he said, "You see the embassy?" And I said, "No, what happened?" And it was just breaking. And he said, "I was with Congressmen last night, explaining that this was coming, and here it is." We talked to them. I talked to him and Brad Thor. And you remember the woman that we had that was she was on with three other people regarding the NSA, and one of the people that they're trying to put into jail for being whistleblowers and warning the American people. And we talked about that huge plant, if you will, that huge digital library that the NSA is building out in Utah that is the size of 5 Capitol complexes. It's enormous, and it's all data storage, data gathering and data storage. And it's all turned on us. Then Brad Thor was on also, and he was part of the panel. He has just written a book, Blacklist. I finished it this weekend. You have to read Blacklist. It is so good. And give it to one of your dummy friends who are like, "Well, I don't have a problem with anybody, do anything, watching me. I'm not doing anything wrong." Really? God, Mom's sure going to be smoked when she finds out. Yeah. They're monitoring absolutely everything every American is doing now. And the FBI just launched $1 billion facial recognition system that will go nationwide. Now, everybody will say, this is not a problem. I don't have a problem. As Brad said last night, just because a farmer has one good crop, he doesn't ever believe that he's going to have all good crops for the rest of his life. Just because we might have no problem with our government now, the government changes. It's like a crop. It comes in different every single season. You don't know what they're going to do with this technology. Here's a new one for you. This I find amazing. That's not a fly. That's a government drone. The government is developing nano drones now for use in homeland security. Also disaster relief. We've got to have that for disaster relief. And environmental monitoring. The FAA estimates that upwards of 20,000 drones will crisscross the U.S. sky within the next 20 years. Concerns are rising that the government will use drones to observe private citizens in Orwellian fashion. But don't worry about it. You'll never see the drone. It's the size of a fly. But it's not like the nano drone can kill. Oh, wait, hang on. No. The Army wants someone dead up to 6 miles away within the hour. There's a new drone for that. Now tiny missiles can be piloted and directed to hit a target up to 6 miles away. Launch date 2016. Is that a problem? They're saying that they're going to rule out use on, civilians. Oh, okay. Okay, good. I feel good. Yesterday was September 11th, and I asked you yesterday to take a look at, are we safer than we were? Last night on the chalkboard, I wrote the Laffer curve, and the Laffer curve is from Art Laffer, and it's really, you remember it from, most people remember it from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anyone? Class? Anyone? And what it is a curve, and one axis is tax percentage, and the other one is revenue. And for instance, if you have a zero tax rate, the government will collect zero revenue. But at the other end of the spectrum, if you have a 100% tax rate, you also will have zero revenue because nobody will make any money because nobody will work because you're taking all the money. So why work? Somewhere in the hump, somewhere that curve comes back down to zero. Where is it? Well, according to the University of Berkeley, California, that number is at 33%. So even the hardcore liberals at Berkeley, California, say that number is 33%. So the highest tax rate we should ever be for is 33%. Because after that, it is diminishing returns unless you're looking for redistribution of wealth and fairness. And that's exactly what this president is looking for. Because you know who the radical was from Berkeley, California, that said the number is 33%? The highest tax rate before diminishing returns is 33%? Christine Romer. She's the main person
Wow.
for economic policy of Barack Obama.
Also the one who gave us the handy-dandy chart that the unemployment rate would never go above 8%.
Yes. So she's the one who said 33% is the highest tax rate without a diminishing return.
And if you don't believe Obama believes that it doesn't matter because of issues of fairness, he said it himself.
Yeah, he said it.
He said it in a debate.
See if you can find that real quick.
All right.
The reason why I bring up the Laffer curve, and I'm talking to you about taxes, is because I want to go back to security. There comes a time, if you have no security apparatus, you have no freedom. On one axis is freedom and the other is security. You have no freedom if you have no security. However, you want to ramp that up, and you want to ramp that up slowly and have just enough security to be able to have freedom. But if you pass that hump at some point, you have so much security apparatus and so much security around you that you have no freedom left. I asked the panel, how close are we to that hump? And they said, we're past that hump and down on the other side. It is not about stopping Al-Qaeda. It is all about controlling the U.S. public. Just like it is not about anybody paying their fair share and having the highest possible revenue to be able to pay down the debt and the deficit and raise more money. It has everything to do with redistribution of wealth and fairness.
When the rate dropped, revenues from the tax increased. The government took in more money. And in the 1980s, when the tax was increased to 28%, the revenues went down. So why raise it at all, especially given the fact that 100 million people in this country own stock and would be affected?
Well, Charlie, what I've said is that I would look at raising the capital gains tax for purposes of fairness. We saw an article today which showed that
Purposes
the
of
top
fairness.
50 hedge fund managers made $29 billion.
So?
Okay, that's 50. That's 50 people.
Yeah.
So he wants to take, for those 50 people, he wants to take and screw the entire country out of interest of fairness, because he can't handle that those 50 people make that much money. He doesn't think that's right. I don't really care what you think is right. You have no judgment on right and wrong, Mr. President. You are the guy who attended Jeremiah Wright's church. Don't tell me you have good judgment on what's right and wrong. You're the guy who supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. And I don't know if you saw this, but they overtook our embassy yesterday. You're the one that said we have to send in our own troops over in Libya, when everybody said, no, that's a really bad idea. And they, by the way, took that embassy. Oh, and they killed our ambassador yesterday. So I don't really believe your judgment anymore. I don't believe you understand the difference between right and wrong, left and right, up or down. You said you were going to make the deficit go down. It went up. You said you were going to make the unemployment rate go down. It's up. You don't know the difference between up and down, let alone left and right and wrong. Please, Mr. President, give it a rest. We've had enough. We've had enough. You say that Occupy Wall Street is so great. Well, let me show you a picture from, and I'm going to have to describe this on radio, but let me show you this picture. This is from Egypt. Do you have it? This is from Egypt. These are the people who took our embassy yesterday, and they are a bunch of guys standing around in masks. Now, remember, the Muslim Brotherhood, as I said on television when I was over at Fox, the Muslim Brotherhood is a really bad thing, right? Really bad thing. And they're connected to Occupy Wall Street and the radicals and the socialists all around the country. Right? Got it? Remember that? No, says the president. They're not connected at all. Here's the picture. Here's the lovely picture that you will see now, at least on the Blaze, but you won't see it probably anyplace else.
Amazing. That's amazing.
It is the guys who took the embassy all wearing the Occupy Wall Street mask.
Yeah, the Guy Fawkes mask.
But it's completely unrelated, right?
It's so funny because this is something you were called a conspiracy theorist on over and over again, that these movements didn't have their crossover, that didn't have their overlaps, and that they are embracing each other's message.
Of course they are.
You were crazy for being so cynical, so pessimistic, way too pessimistic for people like Bill Kristol.
There it is. Look at that.
This is in Egypt. This isn't at Occupy Wall Street.
And behind these doofuses with the Occupy Wall Street masks on is the word prophet, and I imagine Mohammed follows that. So that's that's interesting.
Congratulations, Mr. President. You're right. The youth of the world are changing the world. You're exactly right. Oh, these are the best and the brightest among us. You're exactly right. Because they've outsmarted you, and you're the smartest man on the planet. Make no mistake, this president knows exactly what he's doing. This president knows exactly who his friends are. And his friends are those guys behind the mask. His friends are the Muslim Brotherhood because he's bringing them in to our own Department of Homeland Security. He's bringing them into the White House. He's bringing them into the FBI. They have a lock hold on this guy. Make no mistake. I'm sorry, you can only screw Israel so many times. When are the Jews in America going to wake up? The Jews in Israel are wide awake. You know why? Because somebody has a gun to their head. But you here in America, how many? 8%, 12%, 20%? Get it? Why isn't that 50, 70, 80, 90, 100%? How many times does this guy have to screw the Jewish people? How many times? How many times does he have to say no to Benjamin Netanyahu? How many times does he have to stand him up for dinner? How many times does he have to treat him like garbage? How many times? This time, yesterday, it was announced, while our embassies were being taken, Benjamin Netanyahu says, I'm going to be in town. I need to meet with you, Mr. President. It's our hour of need. And what does he do? He says, I can't make any room in my schedule. I've got David Letterman to be on that night. I can't make it. Oh, my gosh. Our president thinks David Letterman is more important than meeting with our strongest ally, Israel, at their biggest hour of need. And by the way, the other thing that I said when I was on Fox, I said that that Egypt and Iran would connect, that they would begin to work together. Guess what was announced today? Egypt and Iran are working together on intelligence, and it looks like Egypt has just joined the axis of evil on worldwide global terror. Congratulations, Mr. President. Oh, let's talk about Osama bin Laden some more. You have made the world so unsafe. And I said this at the top of the hour, and I mean it sincerely. Gang, if you don't see the writing on the wall, if this country, if we can't get enough citizens to vote this guy who's making Jimmy Carter look like a dream come true, if we can't see the writing on the wall that America does not survive another 4 years. We had 2 embassies taken yesterday and an ambassador killed by people in Guy Fawkes masks and the Muslim Brotherhood. And our president hasn't said anything. We haven't done jack. Instead, he issues an apology, and then he apologizes for the apology a couple of hours later. Oh, really? Exactly like when you took Israel and God out of the platform, and then the next day you apologize for that and put it back in. We hear your message loud and clear, Mr. President, and if the American people don't hear it loud and clear, then it is too late for this country. And it will be destroyed, and it will be up to our children and our grandchildren to rebuild it, because I guarantee you, we won't be around. You and I will not be around to see freedom come back again. We'll be lucky if our children and grandchildren do. May I suggest you preserve every book of freedom you have. May I suggest you preserve the blueprints of freedom. May I suggest you preserve your copy of your scriptures. Because the way the world's going, those will be burned. The way the world is going and the way this president is putting us, he's sending another $1 billion over to Egypt so they can buy U-boats, German submarines. What does Egypt need with German submarines? You're going to arm the Muslim Brotherhood with German submarines? Oh, dear God almighty. You don't see it? We're going to be destroyed, and we will deserve it. But God will not forsake us. And I've got something else to put into your peace pipe to smoke this morning. I've got something else.
Is that what this is? A peace pipe?
That's a peace pipe.
It's a pipe of peace.
Me smoking peace
All right.
pipe. How about
Okay.
you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I have another thing that I want to share with you coming up at the bottom of the hour that you don't want to miss. I think it's really important.